Indian Matchmaker on Netflix, and I'll be honest, it's our new binge, right?
Oh, it's not even new because this is season 2 because we
Yeah.
binged all of season 1 and we are deep in season 2 right now.
Yeah.
And we can't help ourselves. We keep yelling at the TV.
So Seema from Mumbai is the matchmaker, and
Yes.
what's amazing is she's not only working in India with more traditional matchmaking, but she's also working in the United States with a lot of different Indian Americans who are looking for a match.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. It's fascinating.
We find it
because
fascinating.
what's most fascinating is the same issues that these people have are the same issues that our clients have, are the same issues that people write us about, are the same issues that most people seem to have when it comes to love and dating and relationship.
It doesn't change.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't.
Whether you have a matchmaker or not.
One of the things that I find so fascinating is that people at wherever, I don't care what part of the world, because we've coached people all over the world,
right,
of every culture, of every race, of every religion, of every, gay, straight, bi, trans, whatever. I mean, we've literally worked with every kind of person you could think of all around the globe. And it doesn't matter. Every single person makes like a list of the person they're looking for as if it's off some kind of menu of what they're looking for.
And those lists are always really specific. And what's fascinating on Indian Matchmaker is Seema, the matchmaker, always goes, "Oh, you'll be lucky to get about 60 to 70%." And the people go,
They get upset.
They get really upset about that. They're like, "No, I'm looking for like 90%." Right?
Yeah, she says, first off, she starts with saying, she asks their criteria, and they literally can see them make the list, and you can see her face. They literally do a close-up of Seema's, the matchmaker's face. And as they're going back and forth with this list, the client, and the client is, all these things, like this one lady wanted enough hair to make a man bun and a tattoo. And remember all these like really specific things about this physical characteristics. And the first thing Seema says, it doesn't matter the client, she always says, you will not get 100%. You will not get 100%. And it's a weird, it's like we don't know where this comes from, this idea of like listing these characteristics that really your heart doesn't care about. I mean, I'm just going to say this. My friends used to call me the 6 foot and over club because all of my boyfriends, well, not all of them, but many of them before Matthew, especially in that last, probably about a decade before you, all of them were over 6 feet by a lot. 6'4", 6'6", 7'2". I mean, just really tall. And so, and I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'4". And Matthew, what are you, 5'10", 5'10 and a half?
Yeah, 5'10 and a half.
Ish.
Yeah.
Not over 6 feet. I don't care. So, I mean, I didn't have that on a list. This, I didn't have giant, giant man.
Very tall.
Yeah. I mean, I know some friends that are, if we're going to talk about size, they're worried about something else. That's a different conversation. But I just want to say that we've had clients that are concerned about size. But, height and hair color and what kind of car he drives and whether he has hair or not.
And whether he likes this exact same activities as you. All of these things are really unimportant. No, we're not saying that, you shouldn't like have a preference for one thing or another. But ultimately, when it comes to your heart and who you're going to find that is really a great match for you, these are not the important things to look at.
Like, throw the idea of some magical man menu, woman menu just out the door. Like, throw it out the door. This is never something that we do with our clients. We never have our clients make a list of their man menu or their woman menu. This is hogwash. It's just complete hogwash. Yeah. Because these things are not important. They are not important for an overall match. Now, one of the other things I find very interesting that we also hear from our clients all the time is every single person we've ever started coaching and every single person Seema has tried to match thinks that their problems stem from where they live.
And these are people who live in New York, who live in Houston, who live in Chicago. I mean,
Mumbai.
Mumbai. I sort of get the guy who lives in the agricultural rural area outside of Mumbai.
The chicken
guy.
Yeah.
Right? But he's pretty close to Mumbai, right? It's not like he's,
and he's an entrepreneur.
And he's an entrepreneur.
He has all this great stuff. It's not like you can't travel to the city to go out for a date night or a weekend or whatever. Like, the guy's got money. He's got Akshay, I think is his name.
Yeah,
right?
Akshay.
And Akshay's like, as soon as I tried the dating apps, and as soon as I tell them I'm in, I don't remember the name of the town he's in, but we call him the chicken guy because his family, he took over the family business, and it's all equipment for raising chickens. So he's out in the middle of nowhere. I get that. But I mean, he has a nice place, and he's a nice guy, and he's good looking. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. And he'd say, oh, as soon as they find out where I am, they unmatch me. They unmatch me. They unmatch me. And so, and then you can see Seema even when she's working the phones, calling her contacts. Well, she needs to be able to. She has to be okay with moving to. And she says the town, and it's like, oh, and she next call, and then the next call, right? And so, I can see him for a bit, but I will tell you, we've had clients in tiny towns. We have a client, great success story, a woman named Felicity, and she lived in this tiny rural town in South Carolina. And she did not want to go on dating apps. Do you remember? She did not want to go on dating apps. And we were like, well, I mean, if you were in a big bustling metropolis, we could work around not going on the dating apps, but you can't live in a small town and not go on apps. And the thing is she's married to the guy, I think it's the second guy she met online. They got married a long time ago, but like 2013 or something. Yeah, they're still married. Their kid, I think, is like 8 years old now or something. And so, this idea that, where you live is a problem. We have another client, Amy. Who's
rural Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
right?
out in boonies.
And she's found that guys will travel 2 and 3 hours to go on a date with her. Now, what's ironic is the guy she's currently with, that it looks like it, might be a good match for her, actually lives in the town that she lives in. So
he's right there in the town.
He's right there in the same town. And she's like, when she called us, to work with us, she's like, there's nobody in my town. She had so many dates from guys in her town.
A ton.
When she started working with us.
Like literally dozens of them.
So it's not where you live.
It's not where you live. And so I throw out the idea of a menu. Okay. So we just want to start there. But my favorite thing that I really wanted to talk about that really shows up, that really has us yelling at the TV. I mean, we're like yelling at the TV. And I mean, I won't say that we agree with everything Seema says. No. I'm going to go with her 60%. Maybe we agree with 60% of Seema's advice. You're not going to get 100%, Seema.
No, we're not going to agree with 100% of your advice.
Yeah, we're just not. Some of it is really good, and some of it is we're like, oh no, we shouldn't have said that. But I would say about 60% of her advice we agree with. But the thing across the board that we've noticed is mindset. That your mindset matters more than anything else. Your mindset matters more than, the family you come from. But one of the things I've noticed, and it's particularly true, well, I was going to say it's particularly true with the ladies, but it goes both ways with the men too, that she's matching. And I find it kind of interesting because in India today, you can have just a full-on arranged marriage, but the children still need to agree, right? The children, even though they're adults, you know what I mean? But the parents, have to have a say, and the children have to say yes, and they move forward. But also there is a love match, right? And so most people are looking for that combination in today's modern world, even in India. And so she's looking for this sort of hybrid match, right? Where the parents are okay with it and the kids are okay with it, and they're going to move forward. But what's interesting is whether it's the family's involved or they're here in the States and the family isn't as involved, because we've noticed, she takes a modern take here, is every single person through the dating process, when she first gives the bio data over, every single person is looking for a reason to say no.
Yeah.
And that is going to that says everything about the person's mindset. You can't be dating and looking for reasons to say no. You've got to be looking at somebody's profile, their bio data, right?
Literally,
look at that.
I think it's
just interrupted
virile.
me,
I know, but this is really great.
You got to give it me. You got to
let
me finish my sentence.
Finish your sentence.
Every single person, I'm really upset right now.
I see that.
I know, because I don't know what I was in the middle of saying. You have no right to interrupt me mid-sentence.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
Well, apology accepted.
Okay,
but I don't know what I was going to say, so
I
guess the ball's now in your very forcibly taken course.
Well, I got excited because you said something I thought was really important, and I just wanted to emphasize that there's one person, I think it's Viral, right? She's looking
the female Viral.
Yeah, the female Viral. She's looking at the bio data, and literally she reads the whole thing, and she's like, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is good. And she goes, oh, well, I guess the one red flag is that there's nothing on here that's bad. Literally, she said, the red flag is there's nothing on there that's bad.
Hey, babe.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm so glad you remembered that. Now I know why you got so excited.
Yeah.
Me. We can move on. I'm not going to be upset anymore. I'm like, dude, I was like in the middle of a sentence. You're absolutely right. Her red flag was there's no red flag. We were literally yelling at the TV at that point.
I mean, why? Does there have to be a red flag everywhere you're looking?
If you are looking for reasons to say no and to not meet with that person, to not go on a date with that person, you are not in the right mindset to find a match. You're just not. You're fooling yourself. You are not ready. So that means if you are that person, and I would be curious if somebody would step up here and put something here in the comments for us. By the way, we haven't said who we are, and it's been over 10 minutes. So I just interrupted myself. Hi, everybody. I'm Orna Walters.
And I'm Matthew Walters.
And this is Love Intervention.
That's
we are
right.
here to intervene in your love life so you can get the love that you want, that long-lasting, soul-satisfying love that you desire and deserve. And today we're a little bit spicy. We're talking about Indian matchmaking. I kind of did it up here with my Indian earrings and my Indian-themed attire. We've been obsessively binging the second season of Indian matchmaking on Netflix. If you've not seen it, it's really great. You can put your hand there all you want.
I have to interrupt you because you didn't say if you're on Facebook, give us a like, a share, tag your friends. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell, right? Ask your questions either here in the chat, ask your questions on Facebook, ask questions on YouTube. We have our team collecting all the questions. As you can see, they're throwing them here in the chat. We have some great questions, and we're going to get to your questions. But we got a couple more points about Indian matchmaking.
Yeah, we have a couple more points, and I'm going to go straight. I know exactly who I'm going to start with tonight because I think it's a really great point. Because I think you misunderstood what we were saying. So here's the thing. When you have to be in the right mindset, right? You have to be in the right mindset. And there's this one particular client of Seema's. I think her name's Nadia.
Right.
And Nadia keeps self-sabotaging. So Nadia was dating this guy, Shaker, and they didn't live in the same city. She went to travel to where he is, and she told him, we didn't find this out until after the fact, but she told him, we're friends, we're just friends. And so he kind of laid back and didn't make a move. And then she had to get together for Seema and a bunch of Seema's clients and some like that.
She meets a guy in the bar there who's one of Seema's clients, and she starts making out with him there.
With the other guy
Shaker present.
Yeah. And so we were like, whoa. I mean, it was a little like I was like, whoa, girl, what?
Yeah.
And so, he went back and they didn't have, she basically called and broke up with him for this new guy who's like 6-7 years younger than her. And Seema boldly tells her, no, he's not a match for you. And she said, yes, he's too young, but for other reasons, he's not a match. He's not going to be a match for you. And so she ditches Shaker for this younger guy. And then after a few dates, he comes to see her. They do live in the same city. I think they're in Chicago.
No, they're in New York.
Oh, that's right, in New York. And so she was spending a month in LA for some reason. So he flew to LA to be respectful and break up with her in person in Los Angeles. And it seemed we were like, well, good for him for
showing up and doing it in person.
Yeah, because we think, you want to be careful with your heart karma and you do want to end it with somebody in person.
And he did a, respectful job of breaking up with her.
Yeah, he did.
He did offer the friend thing, which is always, and we can talk about that in a whole other.
That's a whole nother love intervention.
We can talk about this friends. Can we just be friends? I know I don't
friends.
love you, but let's be friends, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you're an adult. Unless you're 20-something, forget about it. So here we go. But the thing we noticed about Nadia is she self-sabotages.
Yeah.
She didn't take her matchmaker's advice.
Right.
And she's self-sabotaging. And what that tells us is the self-sabotage often shows up as a symptom of what we call a double bind.
And a double bind, thank you, is when you have two conflicting internal beliefs and you're, in a sense, struggling against yourself. Yeah. And usually, a good obvious example is, well, on the one hand, I really value my freedom and my independence, but on the other hand, I want a relationship, and I feel like I have to give up this in order to have this, and I'm stuck, right? And what's interesting is she keeps going back and forth about whether she's actually ready to commit to a relationship, and that is a perfect symptom of a double bind. So if you find yourself going, well, I want love, but I'm not sure, and, I have these reservations, you want to look, because there's an internal thing going on where you are wrestling with yourself.
Yeah.
Now, what's really great is when we coach somebody, we can get rid of a double bind like that. I mean, it's not easy, but it's quick and it's permanent and it's amazing. And suddenly you're motivated and suddenly you can go take action towards what you want.
Yeah. And you
just to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Right?
You move out of apathy. You move out of self-sabotage. And you really, it's like when this inner conflict gets resolved, suddenly that roadblock is out of your way. It's like it's like the water's up against a dam, and suddenly when we remove the dam,
Yeah.
everything moves forward. It's really lovely to see, and that person can really blossom through the dating process. So I know we kind of rushed that before. I'm just going to say again, hi, I'm Orna Walters.
And I'm Matthew Walters, and this is Love Intervention, where we are here to intervene in your love life, to get you on a path towards long-lasting, soul-satisfying love, to get you out of your own way, right?
Yeah. So if you're on Facebook, you can put your comments right there. If you're on YouTube, you can do the same thing. If you're watching us here in Vimeo, our team will move your questions from the comments over there. And by the way, YouTube, give us a ring the bell notification thing,
Yep.
whatever, subscribe. That's the word I was looking for. Subscribe. You'll be notified. And on Facebook, go ahead and, give a like, a thumbs up, invite your friends, give us a comment, something. I love what Ramona says, because she starts with sorry. I'm like, first off, Ramona, you owe us nothing. You don't have to be sorry for anything, but you misunderstood us. You said physical attraction matters, and then you give some numbers for height. Okay, look, we never said that physical attraction doesn't count.
We never said that.
We never said that. So A, don't be sorry. And B, thanks for bringing up our points so we can make clarification. Your menu of physical traits that you think you might like in somebody, there may be something to that to some degree, but you are doing yourself a disservice if you just don't go on dates with people who are asking you out. Just go on a lot of dates. And people get really upset because they're like, well, there's only so much time. There's only so much time. The fastest way to your soulmate is to go on a lot of dates and treat finding the love of your life like a part-time job. And if you aren't willing to treat finding the love of your life like a part-time job, you are probably not actually ready, for one reason or another, to have the kind of relationship you're telling yourself you want.
So
Selecting a
Sorry, I thought
partner,
you were done.
that's fine. Thank you. I appreciate that. So if this is really important, because who you're going to share your life with is the number one most important decision you will make in your entire life. And it shouldn't be something that's rushed into. It shouldn't be something that you think is left up to fate. And in order to feel like you're in the driver's seat of your love life, you want to go on a lot of dates to first have a discovery about yourself before you even start evaluating if that person is a match for you. And physical attraction is important, but get those lists out of your head.
But whether he's, if you're 5'10", whether he's 5'9" or 5'11" or 6'2", right? Your heart doesn't care. That's what we're saying. So I just want to share this little story, right? One of my oldest friends, who was the best man at our wedding.
Yeah.
He is, I think he's 5'5".
About, yeah.
Yeah, on a
He's
good
smidge
day.
taller than me.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more on a good
Maybe
day.
maybe 5'6" on a good day,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
His wife is closer to 5'8". And
30 years yesterday.
30 years yesterday they've been married.
Yep.
Happily married. And he is
And
plenty masculine.
crazy about
and
each other.
she is plenty feminine. And the fact that she's taller than him doesn't change the masculine feminine dynamic of their relationship.
No, it really doesn't. And yes, are they attracted to each other? Yes. And after 30 years still, yes. They're just lovely. They're a lovely couple. And so does physical attraction have to be there? Yes. But you don't know by looking at a piece of paper if you're physically attracted to somebody.
You do not know by looking at a picture.
You don't know by looking
on
at a
an app.
picture. You don't know even by having a video chat with somebody whether you find them attractive or not. And the thing that most people don't understand is the way your brain works, it will fill in the blanks. So the most blanks are just seeing somebody online, their picture and some bio data, right? Or a piece of paper, whatever. Yeah. So whether it's a piece of paper from Matchmaker or bio data on the screen, it doesn't matter. That's all you're looking at. And your brain fills in the blanks. Then you're on the phone, you hear the person's voice, you hear their tone, and you get a little bit more info. You've seen a picture of them and you're filling in the blanks. Now you watch them on video chat. Hey, you've seen them on a screen. You're still imagining what it's like to be in their physical presence, and you're filling in the blanks.
Good or bad.
This filling in the blanks can be slanted towards the positive or it can be slanted towards the negative, but it's not real until you meet in person. So the only way you know is to go on a date. So go on a date and have those first meetings be short. Do not do dinner and a movie. No. Don't even do dinner. Don't even do a movie.
Nope.
Here's the first off, what are you going to learn about somebody sitting in the dark next to them in a movie theater? So don't
staring at a screen for 2 hours.
Yeah, get rid of that.
Anything.
You want to do a quick hour. So it could be lunch. That's a quick meal because people are in and out on a lunch, right? You can do coffee. You can do a cocktail. You can do
A walk in the park.
A walk, well, a busy park.
Yeah,
You don't want to be somewhere
No.
private.
Yeah.
So you want to be in a public place.
that's true.
So you want to be, if it's a busy park, busy park, a part of a Central Park or something like that, where there's a lot of people on a weekend, you can go, meet them somewhere. You can go bowling for an hour. You
Yeah.
can go, for whatever. I mean,
There's
I'm
a
just
lot
saying,
of
sit
activities
down,
you can do
lots
for
of
about an
activities you can do
hour.
for about an hour, and that's all you need to do. Have plans afterwards, and if it's going really great, leave them wanting more. Yep, that's right. If it's going great, don't move on to a second location. Really don't. Because if that's your person, you got plenty of time to get to know them and spend time with them. Leave them wanting more. And
All
that's
right.
not game playing. That's just good strategy for dating. All right.
So I just
Ramona,
want
we
to
dealt
say,
with that.
yes, I want to say one last thing about Indian matchmaking
And
Seema, and then we'll move on to
Yeah.
the rest of these great questions that we have here. So what you do discover is that when you do meet somebody that's the right fit for you, is that it's easy and that it's comfortable
Oh.
and that it's fun and that it's loose and there's not a lot of drama and all of that stuff. And you see it, and
I don't know.
Pradyuman, right?
Yeah, Pradyuman.
Pradyuman, right? They show his wedding, and it's just, I mean, it's an Indian wedding, so it's pretty
Whoa.
awesome.
If you don't
Right,
mind,
but
I'm
when
going
they
to
show
back up.
him with his girl
You got-
before he proposes, they're just so cute and relaxed and having fun together, and you can see they really like each other.
You buried the lead, dude. Here's the deal: is we watched him in season 1, and Seema kept trying to match him, and he was like, no, and it seemed like he was being too picky and
Right.
all this other stuff. We don't believe in too picky. I mean, all my friends thought I was too picky, so I don't have that judgment ever. But she couldn't find a match that really worked for him, even though the family liked a few of those girls,
Mhm.
in season 1. And then here in season 2, it's very interesting because they follow his journey, even though she didn't match him with this gal that he got married to in
Right.
season 2. We just watched the big wedding, and they met at a party. But Seema, the matchmaker, still gets invited to the wedding because that's how it works in India. And so, because they learned a lot, he learned a lot through the process of being matched with her, that he learned enough to know when it was the right person. And so they met at a party, and they'd been dating a while. And as soon as we picked up with
Yeah.
him in season 2, and you saw the two of them together, you're like, oh, we're going to get a big Indian wedding this season.
Yeah.
It was so exciting because, wow, I mean, it's a 3-day affair with lots of
Elephants.
costume, live
jewelry,
elephant. Oh my God.
Lots of jewelry.
4 jewelry changes for her on the first day. Did you see his face when his mother says, well, this is what I think for the first jewelry, and this is what I think for the second, and he's like, 4? She says, oh, that's the first day, honey. I mean, it's amazing. So if you've never seen a big Indian wedding, watch season 2 of Indian Matchmaking. Wow. Okay. I
Let's
think
go.
we'll redo our wedding. We'll do it Indian style.
There you go.
We'll
Let's
do a vow renewal Indian style. Three days worth of partying, live
Awesome.
elephants, fireworks.
I like it.
Okay, I like it.
I want to go up to the top because Stephanie was so great to jump on early
Right
and
in
put
the
her question in
beginning,
to
yeah.
make sure she got her question answered. So we're going to do that for you, Stephanie. So Stephanie says, I have an avoidant type personality and I struggle with saying no. I want to have clear boundaries and implement them with kindness and respect. What do you recommend to say when not interested to date someone? I know it may seem obvious to some, but for me, it's been a struggle. Well, that's a great question because you always do want to be kind and respectful. That is, I mean, that's just a given in our book when it comes to dating, about how you treat
Yeah.
people and how you are with them, right? You don't find something that you're going to, go, well, I'm not going to date you because you do this thing or you have this, you don't make it about the other person. You make it about yourself. Step number 1, make it about yourself and what you're looking for and what you are really interested in. That's why this person is not your person, because you're really clear on what you're looking for, right? And this person deserves to be with somebody who is crazy about them.
Yes. Here's my 2 cents, Stephanie. Here's the deal. You may have an avoidant type personality. I don't know. But this whole struggle to say no or being conflict avoidant is basically like 98% of the entire human race. So I don't know that this particularly shows that you're an avoidant type personality, but maybe you are. I'm just going to say, bless you. It's so sweet. It says something about your kind heart that you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings.
Yeah.
Number 1, if somebody's asking you out online or is communicating with you online, and you are in a particular age range where a lot of people are asking you out, you do not need to answer every person.
Nope.
So I don't know if this is something where you think you need to respond to every person who matches with you or sends you a message from an online, dating app or whatever, you do not have to answer every person. I mean, some of our clients would literally spend no time doing anything else except for saying, I'm sorry, I'm not interested or whatever, but thank you. So you don't have to worry about that. So if you're not interested, don't respond, they'll move on. And I know sometimes that people get upset when we say that, but it's just, there's only so much time in your day. So you can save time that way.
And it's not disrespectful to do that. It's not ghosting to not respond to somebody that you've never ever responded to.
Yeah.
Right. That you've never ever communicated with. That's not ghosting. Ghosting is, hey, let's go out on a date. I'll see you on Tuesday at 7, and then never showing.
That's a no-show. Yeah.
Right.
I would say ghosting is more like you've been going out with the person for a while and then they just disappear out of the blue and don't communicate with you. That's what ghosting is.
There you go.
Ghosting isn't not showing up for a date.
I'm not going to argue with you. That works for me.
That's obviously rude too, but I would say a first date particularly, that's not. Ghosting is, I thought we were dating and in the kind of a relationship thing going on and suddenly whoosh, they disappear. That's ghosting. Because they didn't want to say what Stephanie's trying to figure out how to say, I don't want to see you anymore. That's ghosting. So instead of ghosting, Stephanie, here's the language. We're going to give it to you right here, okay?
Oh, wow,
you're going to say, let's give it up. You're going to basically say something in the form of, I've gotten really clear on what it is I'm looking for, and it's apparent that we're not a match. And I wish you luck, and I know somebody out there, you're going to find a great match for you, and I wish you the best. And you mean it, and you wish them the best. And that's basically it.
That's it.
And ideally, if you've been seeing that person for a bit and you want to say, I don't want to see you anymore, it's best if you can do that in person. That's why we were talking about Nadia's date. I can't remember his name now. The young guy.
I can't remember.
I can't remember all those. I can't remember anybody's name except my own and yours. I don't know. I'm not good at names. I remember his face. Anyway, he flew to LA to say, I don't want to, this isn't working out for me. I don't feel that romantic thing. That's a nice thing to say too, because it's about you also, right? You can say, look, I find you to be very appealing in some ways, and I don't have that.
I've enjoyed spending time with you and getting to know you.
But I don't have that romantic feeling that I was hoping to have. And so I wish you the best of luck to find somebody where it's a match for you.
Because you deserve to be with somebody who feels that way about you.
Yeah. So make it about you. You're not going to say, hey, I don't want to go out with you anymore. I thought you were rude to the waiter or something like that. You're not going to make it about them. Just make it about yourself.
Always.
You're moving on.
Even if they were rude to the waiter.
Always. Just make it about you, because that way you're taking care of your heart karma. Okay. I think Jamie has a great question here at the top, pretty early in to our commentary on Indian matchmaking. Jamie, I don't know if it's a boy or girl, man or a woman, male or female, or whatever, or in between, or other these days, right? Jamie asks, okay, I've worked with a matchmaker in the past. It makes me crazy. They only set you up with one person at a time. I find this very tedious. What do you two think about this? Yay or nay? I'm going to do me.
Yeah, nay. We don't care for it.
We don't like this one person at a time stuff.
Seema from Mumbai. I just love saying that because that's how she always enters the room.
Always says,
hi there, it is Seema from Mumbai. Right. That she says you can get confused if there's too many people and you could start to second guess all of them. So she just wants you to focus on one person. And I can sort of understand that thinking because she's gone through and picked people that have like a ton of qualities of the things you're looking for.
She's working off that menu.
She's working off the menu, right? But in general, it does kind of, it slows things down because you could spend, a good 3 weeks, 3 months with
6 months.
6 months with this one person trying to figure out if there's something there or not. And then when there isn't, then you got to start
all over
with the next
square one
person
again.
Another 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, however long it takes, right?
Yeah.
And that just seems tedious to us.
Yeah. And I just want to say, this idea of you're going to get confused if I give you more than a couple people to choose between, I think that's weird too.
Yeah.
But I will say that, since back to the Indian matchmaking, I can't help myself. One of the things that Seema is really good at is finding a lot of somebody that has most of those qualities. When she says
she's a good matchmaker,
you're not going to get 100%, but you will get that 60 to 70%. She hits it every time. I mean, what I find so fascinating is her clients are always surprised. Like they start looking at the bio data and like, oh, there's this, and they could, and like I'm like, they're surprised she did her job. I find that fascinating. Like, I mean, it'd be funny if, like, let's say you work in an office and the filing person filed the work they're supposed to file, right? And you'd be like, wow, you really...
Everything's in order.
You put it all away.
I know where to find things. That's
Thank
amazing.
you. It's in alphabetical order even. I don't have to guess. They're so surprised. I find it just like going to the receptionist at your
Yeah.
office. You really answered the phone all day. Thank you.
You said it. You did it nicely too.
I'm so impressed. Thank you. I don't know. People are funny. So look, our job, I'm just going to say that
Yeah.
because I think people sometimes wonder with soulmate coaches, what the hell does that mean?
All right.
Right? So let's talk a little bit about soulmate coaches. We did not want to call ourselves dating coaches.
No.
I'll tell you why. Because nobody wants to freaking date.
No.
Nobody. I didn't want to date.
I didn't want to date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, right. The thing is we didn't want to put the emphasis on what we do on this tool that gets you to the goal. So we thought we'd put the goal right there in what we do, that we're soulmate coaches, because ultimately, if you're looking for that long lasting and soul satisfying love that we're talking about, that really the goal for you is something more than just a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Right. And that's one of the things. Oh, that was the woman in the double bind. She's like,
Yeah.
find me a boyfriend, Seema. On the show.
Yeah.
I keep going back to the show.
And-
Find me a boyfriend, Seema. And Seema got mad. And this was a good thing on Seema's
Yeah.
part, because she was like, no, you're not ready. No boyfriend, husband. You're looking for a husband. And it's so true. And so your mindset has to be right. But the whole idea of us being soulmate coaches is because, look, we sometimes disagree. I mean, I don't know if you caught the top of the show, but Matthew interrupted me. I got a little upset, and that's okay. And so sometimes, we do get upset with the person
Yeah.
we share our life with. You're going to
Yeah.
have miscommunication. You're going to have conflict. And I can appreciate that, Matthew got excited and interrupted me, and I'm sure I've interrupted him probably even since I got mad about it.
Probably even on this.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I may have, And so we just, you got to work it out, and you got to be able to just, not hold on to stuff, right? You got to speak how you feel and move on. Kara says, most of the people I
Hey,
interact
jumping way
with,
down there. Okay.
yeah, why not? Most of the people I interact with are living 1 to 3 hours away with an exclamation point. How to date multiple people who are long distance. The same way you would date anyone else, Kara. Make a schedule. And don't go see them. If you're the female and if men want to see you, have them come to you. You're not going to meet halfway. Have them come to you. You are not the tour guide of your town.
I'm going to interrupt for just a second here.
Yes, sir.
If you've been on several dates and things seem promising, right? They seem like
yeah.
they're
That's different.
going well.
Then you can
Then
go.
you can meet halfway, right? Or you could go over to his town, all that kind of stuff. We're talking about at the very beginning,
Yeah.
right? Because what you want to know is that this guy is interested in a relationship, and the way to know that a guy is interested in a relationship and not just something casual or maybe or we'll see, right? You want to know a guy's interested in a relationship, but you put a little friction in the process. You make him jump a couple of little hurdles, and they're not big hurdles, but they're
Yeah.
little hurdles. You say, hey, can you, instead of texting me, I really like it when a man gives me a phone call, because then I can hear his voice.
And here's the thing, ladies.
Things like that.
I think so many people we talk to are constantly thinking like we're talking about dating in the 50s.
Mhm.
And they're so wrong. There's a reason why we're telling you, let the man come to you. Let the man ask you. Let the man lead the relationship forward. Because here's the deal. If you want to save time, right? Don't save time by being a private investigator and researching on Google for 17 hours before you
Right.
go meet somebody for a cup of coffee. You do not need to waste your time doing that. You're not a PI. Don't worry about it. Like literally, you need one criteria, not an axe murderer. Like not an axe murderer, great. Go meet in person for an hour. You know what I mean? Like that's all the criteria you need. Like, am I safe with this person for an hour in public? That it's a really low bar. And here's the reason why we're saying that, because most people spend so much time weeding out who they're just going to meet with that you're missing out on all of these opportunities. When you are going through the process of saying, I'm ready to find my life partner, and trust me, it took me until over 40 to finally be able to say that. I was like, oh my God, I want a husband. I want a husband. I want a husband. It was weird to even make those words come out of my mouth. I mean, sometimes it's weird for me to say I have a husband. It'll be 13 years. This year, I'll be 13
He's
years
sitting
married.
right next to you.
I know. I mean, it's not weird. I love having you, but I mean, the words are weird. Like I was a girl who was like, oh, can I just live across the street from my husband? I wasn't sure I wanted to live in the same house with somebody all the time. And so here's the deal, that you want the guy to pursue you so you don't waste time. If you never, ever, ever want to have to ask a guy, where is this going? Let him lead.
Yeah.
Let him lead. Now, that doesn't mean you don't speak up and speak how you feel. It's the woman's job really to respond and set the pace of the relationship. A guy who is into you is going to want to scoop you up off the market and claim you right away. And it's your job to set the pace and say, not yet. We don't know each other yet. I like where this is going. I like who you are. I don't know you enough yet. I don't know enough yet. Not yet, not yet, not yet. It's the woman's job to set the pace of the relationship. It's the man's role to really lead and move the relationship forward. And if you don't believe me, look around you and look at the same sex couples that you know, because you can see which one of them, very obviously, one of them is more in their masculine and one of them is more in their feminine, even when the gender is the same. So don't mix it up when there's one man and one woman and think, oh, well, I'm a woman. And look, if you're a woman and you want to just have a lot of sex, I don't care. We don't judge here. Have all the sex you want. We're talking about getting a husband, a wife, a mate, a soulmate, a life partner who's going to stick by you no matter what, even when you get upset that they interrupt you and then interrupt you 2 minutes later. Okay? If you want that kind of relationship with somebody where it's going to last and you're going to enjoy the shit out of each other. I cursed already, so I might as well just keep cursing. I don't know why I got weird about it.
I don't know.
It's our show. So, here's the deal. If you want to just really enjoy somebody all the time, most of the time, right? It's not going to be 100% of the time. How about we can hit that 90%?
We can hit 90%.
The 90%.
Yeah.
You're going to enjoy spending time with them like 90% of the time and only 10% of the, okay, great. It's good. What's that Phil Collins song? It's a really old song. One tear in every year or whatever.
I don't think I know that song.
Follow you, follow me.
Oh, is that?
Yeah,
yeah,
I will
okay.
follow. Yeah, I'm not going to sing it.
I don't know
I
the
can't.
lyrics.
I just love this because our friend piped in here. I see you, Lisa. I see that you put something in that our team put over here. I wonder if you're watching us on Facebook. Hey, Lisa. You know what? If you're ready for that wedding, girl, you got my number. Let's make it happen.
All right.
Okay.
I think she's talking about the Indian wedding. That's just a hunch on my part.
I'm having fun with it.
I know. Okay.
All
I
right.
want to jump on to another question, but before I do that, why don't we once again introduce ourselves?
Hello, everybody. I'm Orna Walters.
And I'm Matthew Walters, and this is Love Intervention. We're here to intervene in your love life to get you on that path to long-lasting, soul-satisfying love. All right. We have a great question from McKenna, right? McKenna says, I dream about getting married someday, and it seems that someday never comes. I'm about to turn 40, and it's freaking me out. I've had relationships, but it's been a while. There it is. I do not want to go on a dating app. That just seems desperate. I'm not desperate. I just want to share my life with someone cool who digs the same things as me. Is that too much to ask? Well, it's not too much to ask, but you have to put some effort into it. It's not just going to happen. As you see, someday never came, right? And someday never does come because someday is passive. Someday is sitting and waiting for someday my prince will come. Right. But that's not the way love works. Love works like everything else. You got to have a plan. You got to take action. You got to take steps in your life. Now, if you're not going to get on a dating app, then you've got to get yourself out there in other ways. Where people who are single are looking for relationships, not just out there in the world, hoping that, all the guys, in this hiking club are single, right? Or at least the ones you like. Because that's a crapshoot.
I'm going to say it another way. What's your dealio with the dating app thing? I mean, it's 2022. It's almost 2023. Okay.
Exactly.
So here's the deal. Get out of your own way. This is a mindset thing. Look, people are getting nervous about that. I don't know what your deal is with the dating app, but the reality is it's your best bet to meet people who are looking for the same thing you are. Instead of just whoosh, we had a client that lived in New York, in Manhattan, and she started this thing of flirting with guys and waiting to see when they would ask for her number and like letting them know that the water's warm and practice flirting and like all of these tips that we gave her. But here's the thing, she was implementing it in real life. And she said, I started to get really good about knowing when a guy was getting the courage up to ask a perfect stranger on the subway for my phone number. And there was this one guy where it was her stop. And she was like, I knew he was warming up to ask me. And so I didn't get off because I liked him. I thought he was cute. But here's the thing. There were a lot of guys that she started flirting with that just moved along. And she was like, I was like, I bet he's taken or whatever. Right. I wasn't interested. So it's too much work. I mean, it's a good exercise. Like if you want to, you can ride around the subway or sit in a coffee shop and flirt with everybody coming in, whatever. It's a good exercise, but it's not great odds, right? So it's not great odds. Like if you're going to Vegas, right? I mean, you want to be able to have the odds in your favor. And so if you're not willing to go on a dating app because you have some judgment about the dating app, I would say that you're not really that motivated to, quote, have somebody to share your life with. And those are your words. Like, if you're like, you know what, if I have somebody someday, great. And if I don't, that's okay too. You're going to end up at the latter. You're going to end up with that's okay too. And because you're not being willing to call yourself on your own crap. So I'm going to call you out on that crap. And I'm going to say, what's your problem with the dating app? Get over yourself, right? Get over yourself. I mean, we had a client who's a doctor. She's a infectious disease doctor in a big city in the United States of America.
Right.
And she's like, oh, I can't. She was dating on a dating app without a photo, like she was some kind of celebrity. And I'm like, look, we've coached a lot of celebrities. We have them on dating apps. Some of them with pictures, McKenna. That's right. Celebrities, you'd know their name. And some of them without pictures.
Right.
And this particular client of ours was like, well, how do they date without pictures? And I was like, you're not a celebrity. It doesn't apply to you. It doesn't apply to you. She wanted this persona of, well, I'm a doctor. I shouldn't be on a dating app. And I was like, who cares? I mean, anybody who sees you on the dating app, guess what? They're on the dating app too.
And guess what? They're single and they're looking for a relationship, or at least they're looking for a date.
Yes. So there's
I mean, that's where the biggest pool of people who are single and looking for relationships are. They're on dating apps. So
get
you
over
can say,
yourself.
I really want this amazing career. I know exactly what the career is, and I refuse to get on LinkedIn because I don't like LinkedIn. But, you know, my career hasn't happened yet, and I can't seem to, you know, get an interview with the right people. Well,
Get out of your own way.
Get out of your own way.
Yeah.
Get on LinkedIn. Get on the dating app. Whatever it is. All right.
Okay. I'm going to take, it's my turn to pick, right? You picked the last one.
It is, but there was a comment I wanted to comment on. So
All right, you can do that.
Carol says, so sick of the ultra feminist crap. I feel women are wired up like you describe, and society has tried its best to contradict us. So thanks. I'm going to contradict you a little bit, Carol, because we are not against feminists or feminism. Because women should make the same amount of money as men. Women should be able to own a house and drive a car and all the things that women had to fight for, right? Because they weren't allowed to do that. So we don't have any problem with any of that. We don't have any problem with what feminists has done for women in the workplace and what they've done for women's opportunities out in the world. And women's rights. However, a lot of those ideas and principles have caused women to start acting like men in the dating world. And that just creates confusion, because then you have men who are acting more feminine, and those men nobody likes because, you know, they're great to be around and they're friendly, but you never know where things are going. They never move anything forward because they're too much relaxed in their feminine energy. And the woman's too much in her masculine energy to let another masculine man in, because that's competition and they're fighting, right?
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. Like, I think it's funny. We have some friends, and we went, this was several years ago, long before COVID. And we went on a double date with them to go ballroom dancing. Now, none of us.
All right, Carol says I didn't say feminists, right? I meant the crazy ones. Sorry, Carol. It's my own soapbox. Don't mind my energy.
Yeah, that's cute. I'm glad you understood us, though. Thank you for that. So we went with this couple. They've been married a while. We've been married a while. They're coaches. We're coaches. We went to this ballroom dance, you know, thing at the Arthur Murray down the street. And I had no idea, but it's like basically there's two circles, like the women on the inside or on the outside. I don't remember. There's a ring of women and the ring of men, and you change partners all night long. So you're not dancing. Like, I wasn't dancing with Matthew all night. And when we left, I said to my friend, I said, oh, I was kind of bummed. I didn't realize I wasn't going to be dancing with Matthew all night. I love dancing with Matthew, even though we're not really ballroom dancers. I mean, I'm like watching the steps and having to learn. And she starts laughing and she says, oh, no, we've been to one of these before. And I always try to lead. So if he gets mad at me, we'd fight. So I knew I was going to be dancing with other people besides my husband. And it made me laugh. Like, the thing is like, women get upset when the guy doesn't take the lead. And yet so many women are taking the lead and not even leaving space for a man to take the lead.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you notice, I'm not much of a wallflower and I speak up. And early in our relationship, I mean, Matthew showed me every step of the way where this relationship was going. I never had to ask him, not once. I never had to say, where's this going? Or I never questioned his intentions with me in any way, shape, or form. And so if you are really looking for the guy who is looking to claim you, and if you're too busy asking and pursuing and leading and moving things forward, you're not going to find that guy. The guy who's like, ooh, but I want her. You know, I've asked for decades. I've asked couples who've been married a long time, what's their secret? Mm-hmm. And I remember meeting this couple on an airplane, so flight from LA to Arizona. And they were going to go visit a great grandchild, the birth of their first great grandchild. They've been married a long time. I don't remember how many years. But they both worked at the phone company. She was an operator at the phone company, and he was a technician. And he said, oh, I used to go in the room and think, am I interested in anybody here? And then when she showed up, I knew it was her. I knew I wanted to be with her. And he picked her out of a room of operators. And his face still lit up, over 50 years later about how he picked her. And, Matthew tells this story about how there was this light over my head or whatever.
I mean, the short version is we had been in this networking group, this local business networking group, and we'd actually never spoken to each other. We'd been going to the same meeting once a month for a year, and it was a big group. And then one day, Orna sat at my table, and I don't know what it was, but there was this impulse that said, I need to talk to this woman. It's like this light over her, and I just said, this is somebody I have to talk to. Now, what was funny was, I thought it might have been about what she did, in her business, her life coaching career. But what it really was about this. And that first networking breakfast that we had, we didn't even talk about business. We just
no. We talked about all kinds of things.
And Orna says throughout the whole dating process, she never had to ask me, where is this going?
Yeah.
Right. Because once I met her, I knew I wanted a relationship. And once I got in a relationship, I knew I wanted something more. And so I was moving the relationship forward. Right. Because that's what a man does when he's looking for a relationship. And especially when he's looking for a relationship with you. If it's confusing, it's because he's not clear. And it's not your job to make him get more clear. That's up to him.
Yeah. And if, a lot of times, a lot of the guys will be like, well, what if you're shy? And we'll be like, well, then you've got to step it up anyway. You got to risk, right? Love does require risk. Love requires risk. So for the ladies, you want to just speak up and be authentic. And being authentic means one thing and one thing only. It means you're speaking up and sharing how you feel. That's all that being authentic is. That's it. So, people say things, and we heard this on Indian Matchmaking too. One of the brothers of one of Seema's clients was like, just be yourself. Be yourself. And it's like, it's the weirdest advice ever.
Who else are you going to be?
And suddenly, let me reveal, big reveal. I'm really acting like Susie. I mean, that would be weird. I don't know how to act like Susie. I only know how to behave like Orna. So be yourself. I don't know what to do with that.
No.
But let me tell you something. Being authentic means you are noticing how you're feeling, and then you're speaking about it.
Right.
It's really simple, really, really simple. And that's how you create emotional connection with another person. You think the guy's cute and you want him to know that you're cute, tell him how you feel. You don't have to say, I think you're cute. You can say, wow, I'm really enjoying myself. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you decided to take me here. Ooh, I really like this restaurant. I mean, we have a client who is Indian. She happens to be Indian, living here in the United States. And this particular guy took her out, and I believe he's not Indian. And he took her to a restaurant that was the same. There's different kinds of food in India, like the northern food is different than the southern food. And he asked where she grew up in India, and he took her to a restaurant that had the same kind of food that she grew up with, which is says a lot about how interested he is in going out with her, right? See, he makes effort. So when you talk about yourself and you share about yourself and you speak of how you feel, the guys that are interested in having a relationship with you are going to show up a lot differently than those guys that are just hoping something convenient will happen, right? Like maybe sex, or maybe I have someone to take to the concert, right? That's not what you're looking for. So if you really want that soulmate love, right? These are the strategies that we're talking about. If you really want to share your life with somebody where they don't just scamper off at the first bump in the road, I think we say all the time, right? That we're not sitting here because everything went right.
Right.
Like a lot of things went wrong. We're sitting here today because we figured it out through all of those twists and turns and curveballs that life threw at us. And we're here to figure it out and show you how to figure it out, because there is a formula to really create the love that you want on purpose, so that you don't have to be stumbling around by accident. So I'm going to say one more time, hello, everybody. I'm Orna Walters.
And I'm Matthew Walters, and this is Love Intervention. We are here to intervene in your love life, to get you off the path that's not working and onto the path of long-lasting, soul-satisfying love. We have some great questions, and there's a couple here there's two more I want to get to, if that's okay.
I can let you pick them. Go ahead.
All right. This one should be short, and then the next one's a little more in depth.
All right.
So we'll start with Nathan. Nathan says, it seems most women are interested in how much money a guy makes, not whether he is a good guy or not. I make a good living, so I guess it shouldn't bother me, but it does. How do I know if she likes me for me and not for my nice house, etc.
Want me to take it?
You can start if you want. I have
I
some
love
ideas.
to start. So I grew up in LA. I've worked in and around the entertainment industry for most of my life until I became a life coach in like 2004 is when I left the entertainment industry.
Mhm.
So I did that for a long, long, long time. I met a lot of people that make a lot of money. And my really good friend Keith made a lot of money very young in the music industry. And he used to say he'd want me to feel through his dates and make sure that they were, they were good people. And the thing is, I noticed right away, it makes me laugh that this is what I do for a living now.
Yeah.
Because one of the things Keith would do on like a second or third date is take a gal shopping and buy her like thousands of dollars worth of clothes. I'm like, dude, what? Well, she's cute. And I'm like, don't buy love, right? You can't buy love. It's true. You can't. So you can buy somebody's interest, right? But that doesn't go very far. So Nathan, you don't have to worry about it. If you are making a good living, you don't have to worry about somebody who's looking for your money or whatever, because just pay attention to how that woman is showing up. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, going out with somebody and spending money on them to take them to a nice dinner or take them to a theater or take them to a concert, but be careful about gifts and buying material items. I mean, look, in this day and age, do we really need a lot of material items? I mean, Matthew and I, even when we give gifts to each other, we're more about giving experiences than we are tangible goods at this point. I mean, do we need more stuff?
I would say this to Nathan. If you're concerned about it, there's a few things you can do. One, don't mention that you own your own house until you've had several dates with her, right? You can say, well, I live in this area. You don't have to say you live in a house, an apartment, whatever. You can be vague, right? Park your car. If you got a really nice fancy car, park it and walk to where you're meeting her so she doesn't see the car, right? There's things you can do to just, the obvious things that show your success, that you're not leading with those. Instead, you're leading with just who you are and how you're showing up, and you're seeing her as who she is and how she's showing up. And then once she's sort of shown up enough, then you can show her the car or the house or whatever, and it can come naturally as you progress in the relationship. But a lot of guys lead with that stuff, whether they do it consciously or subconsciously, because they're working to impress the woman. And so they want to impress her in some way that says, look at me, look at how successful I am, right? As a way of saying, look, I'm a worthy partner because I'm successful.
There is a red flag in the way he started his question, though.
Yes.
The red flag, Nathan, you said, it seems most women are interested in how much money a guy makes. This is your limiting belief. That has nothing to do with the truth.
Right.
We've had plenty of female clients that have a lot of money and they're concerned about the men who aren't, that are taking advantage of them. And we had a particular client who was like, well, she had, when we were coaching her, she was, within the year, she had been to Europe twice.
Right.
And when we were filling out and helping her with her online profile, she's like, oh, I don't want to say anything about that. I've been to Europe twice. I don't want somebody online to know I can afford to go to Europe twice in 1 year, right? So this idea that it seems most women are interested, that's the red flag in the way you wrote the question, which means your mindset, there you have some, I don't know if it's, trauma, upset, some heartbreak that has to do with a woman that you were interested in, that you found out wanted the money, or some limiting belief, or maybe it's left over from your childhood and your parents' relationship. I don't know, but that's a limiting belief that has nothing to do with the truth. Most women are actually looking for a guy who's a nice guy that they think is hot and that they, can hang out with and share their life with. And have a
I'd
family
say,
with.
a lot of women want to make sure he's not in debt and, doesn't have horrible credit scores and things like that, right? I mean,
financially stable.
Financially stable.
Yeah.
That's the word. All right. So I hope that answers it, Nathan. You want to look at your own energy. You even said it. I guess it shouldn't bother me, but it does. You want to look at where that comes from, and you look about how you can let go of that so that it's not an issue for you. Because if it's not an issue for you, then you're not going to highlight and attract those situations where there are women who are like that. I told you there were 2 questions. The other one's down here.
All right. I wanted to see what was up above.
No problem.
You're welcome.
Jenny says, oh my God, you two have hit on something that has plagued me for years. How come when it feels right, it ends up being so horribly wrong? So you've kind of sort of spelled out the issue. So now I want to know what to do about it.
Well, Jenny, go to loveonpurpose.com.
That's step 1.
I mean, honestly, here's the deal. When it feels right, it ends up going so wrong. And I just want to say let's start here.
Yeah.
We are all attracted to what is familiar. So the brain science of attraction, the way your mind works, your mind is filtering the world, and the world appears as you believe it to be. Like we were just chatting about Nathan's question. It said he seems most women are interested in a guy with money. Well, that's not necessarily true, but it's the way Nathan believes the world is. And so the women that show up for him are women that are interested in money. So they're probably asking him questions about how much money he makes, or what kind of car he drives, or if he's wearing a fancy watch, or if he has the newest iPhone, or whatever, right?
Right.
So here's the thing. The world appears as you believe it to be. So we are attracted to, when we, a lot of times we get emails from people, a lot of people say, how can I stop attracting cheaters? How can I stop attracting cheaters? Well, if you find that that's your pattern, it's not that you're attracting. It's not like you have a magnet inside of you that's like, hey, cheaters, come and get me.
No.
It's the other way around. You're attracted to somebody who cheats. Now you're like, how can I be attracted to somebody who cheats? So let's think of it this way. Rather than using the word attract, let's put in the word highlighted. Your brain is highlighting what is familiar. So the biggest computer in all the land, the best computer in the world, is this space between your ears. And that space between your ears is filtering through 2 million bits of information in every moment, trying to decide and highlight and spotlight for you the things that are familiar to you. This is due to species survival. You have lived to experience everything you've ever experienced in your life up until this date, August 16th of 2022. You've stayed alive. Yay! And your brain, your subconscious brain says, wow, Jenny has stayed alive all this time. Let me bring her more of the same. So what you want to reevaluate and turn on his ear is this feeling right.
Right.
What feels right for you? So I'm going to pass it to you so you can
So a lot
continue.
of people get hung up. They say what's really important to me is attraction. I really need to be attracted to the person. And oftentimes what they're saying is they really need that sort of like, oh my God, blown away, knocked your socks off. I'm unbalanced. I can't believe this person is so hot attraction. Right? That there's this chemistry, this I keep looking for another word for attraction, right? There's this energy, and what it is, like Orna said, it's your brain, your subconscious mind going, this is familiar, this is familiar, this is familiar, right? And if it's, if your pattern in love has pain in it, a lot of pain, that signal's really loud. Because it really wants to draw your attention to the situation. Say, this is familiar, hey, this is familiar, right? And what most of us don't realize is that subconscious doesn't say this is familiar good or this is familiar bad. It just says this is familiar.
Yeah.
And we mistake that familiar excitement for attraction, right? Now, the thing is, fear and excitement have the same physiological response in the body. Your heart rate picks up a little bit, your adrenaline, your breath gets shallow, your palms get a little sweaty, a little clammy, right? We go, oh my God, I'm so excited. Think about it. I mean, do you like roller coasters? I know Orna loves roller coasters. We always have to sit in the front. So there's that moment where we're the next ones in line and we're waiting for the car to come up to get into it.
Oh, yeah.
And Orna is sitting there. She's got all the, the shortness of breath and the pumping heart and the sweaty hands. And she's going, this is going to be so much fun, right? And I'm sitting there going, oh, how did I let her talk me into this again? Right?
But it is fun.
But it is fun. But we're having the same physiological response. The difference is what we're saying to ourselves about the situation. The difference is our internal dialogue, right? So what if you took that feeling that says when it feels right, and you examined it and said, well, instead of saying it feels right, say it feels familiar.
And how does it really feel? What is the body sensation? Just when we do this with our clients, what we discover is it's not a really comfortable feeling, this quote feels right feeling. And the feeling that you want should feel like pretty grounded and stable and solid. And it's still exciting, but it's not obsessive or compulsive or consuming. It's more easy.
Yeah. It's
just more easy. So it's the wiring. If you want more info on this, we've got a lot of it. You can send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. So if anybody wants to know more about this or how we can support you in creating that soul satisfying, long lasting love, drop us a line at support, SUPPORT, at loveonpurpose.com. We are thrilled that you joined
Yeah.
us today. Thank you so much.
We had a lot of
I hope you
fun.
do tune in to
Yeah.
watch Seema from Mumbai on Netflix's Indian Matchmaking.
We don't get any kickbacks on that.
No, we don't, but it's been really fun to sort of watch it. We really enjoyed season 2. If you haven't seen season 1, you definitely want to watch that first. But we're here to help you get that love that you truly desire, but the one that lasts, that rock your socks
Exactly.
off love that lasts. And I'm Orna Walters.
I'm Matthew Walters, and this has been Love Intervention. Please join us in 2 weeks on August 30th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're here twice a month to answer your questions about love, dating, and relationship. Thank you to our team. Thank you, Isa, for such a great job. And we'll see you all soon. Have a great night.
Thank you. Namaste.